would you succinctly, because I know it's a deep concept, define Torah Im Derech Eretz, Hirsch's Torah Im Derech Eretz, and how does that tie in, which you've mentioned a little bit too, is optimism?
Okay. Maybe I'll talk personally for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if Rav Hirsch would agree with my inner feelings,
Okay.
but I'll toss it out there. I hope he would. Okay. When people ask me about this old debate about, do we encounter secular knowledge or do we not? For me, it's almost that, I'll say a little funny way, like I almost feel like I don't have a choice. I'll tell you what I mean. Obviously, I have a choice. I find Torah very profound. It's one of the reasons I enjoy it every day, Talmud Torah. I also find a lot of secular writing to be particularly profound, right? I feel like I've gotten so much insight into the world from non-Jewish writers. There's been a lot of intelligent non-Jewish writers over the course of time, and their ideas are often insightful and inspiring. I'll just toss out one recent example. Just maybe the listeners will want to read this book. Okay, so there's a medical writer named Atul Gawande who wrote a book called Being Mortal. And it's about how, we're obviously living longer now due to medical advances. And it becomes a question like, what is the end of our life going to look like? Right? It's a real question. Those of us who are perhaps taking care of elderly parents might, be facing this question. And I just found it such a sympathetic and wise book about these issues. Like he'll discuss things like, where does one die? Meaning, I think often in the Western world, one dies in a hospital. And often in the third world, the assumption is you die at home. And maybe, the Western world is getting something wrong about this. Like we're kind of like outsourcing death to the medical authorities. Okay, so again, obviously this is its own conversation. But I read that book and I was like, oh my God, like everybody should read this book. This is amazing. So for me, again, you might say, would I have a more negative view or more jaundiced view of the world? I would not come to that. But I think if one reads with an open mind, one does find a lot of wisdom and insight. And that could either be the product of optimism or that could generate optimism. Oh, if there really is such insight there, that generates it for me. So I think, again, now I'm sorry to jump from, Yitzchak, Blau to Rav Hirsch, but maybe Rav Hirsch had that experience. German Jewry in the 1800s was getting more rights than they'd had in the past, right, with emancipation and enlightenment. And Rav Hirsch was now reading these people. And what if he read, Goethe and Schiller and said, this is amazing, right? I find very inspiring things here, things that do not contradict, right, my most deep Jewish values. And that both optimism leads me there and it also generates optimism. So maybe something similar happened in Rav Hirsch's biography.